Good morning, students. Good morning, all of you. So, we are uh, doing our chapter sound. So, the question came in our mind, which is very important, that is, how do we hear sound? The simplest answer is by our ear. But how is our ear so equate that it is able to interpret the sound which is coming? So only our ear has the capability to hear. Okay, so for that we will have to gain some understanding by reading the human ear. So a sensitive organ which enable us to hear the sound around us is the human ear. It help us to hear. So let us quickly look at the different part of the ear. Then only we will be able to understand how it help us to hear. So the various auditory part, that means those part which help us in hearing, are the entire structure of the ear, which you are able to look at the screen, is outer, inner and middle ear. Outer means which is the outer part which we can see from outside, that is the outer ear, which is also called as a spina. Okay, so from outer ear starts the auditory canal. Here you see the tube-like structure. So this tube-like structure goes deep inside. So if you put your finger inside your ear, you can actually see the tunnel like this. However, you your finger will not go deep inside, and don't even try to do that. So this is the auditory canal. So this auditory canal goes deep inside and it reaches the eardrum. So here you have this green color structure which you see here is the membrane which is called eardrum or the tympanic membrane. So what is that beyond this membrane? Beyond this membrane starts the middle ear. So this is the middle ear. Somewhere the red color structure which you see is the middle ear. So what is present in the middle ear? So this was your outer ear. From here you starts the middle ear, and this middle ear consists of three bones: malleus, incus and stapes. Malleus, incus and stapes. So these three bones together form the middle ear. Here you see this part. So that form the middle ear. So middle ear is bony in nature, you can say, and then if you go deeper inside, you reach the inner ear. Inner ear is the structure which you see here. So this part is the inner ear, the purple color structure which you see. So that is inner ear. So this inner ear, you have this coiled structure like this. This is called cochlea. And beyond that you have auditory nerve, so which you see the nerves coming out. These nerves are called, this connect the ear to the brain, because ear help you to perceive the sound, but how do you understand what you are hearing? For example, I will give you a small example. Let us suppose that your friend is calling you by your name. Okay, so your ear will help you to listen what he is saying. For example, suppose he is telling that come here. So ear will help you to listen that these two words, come here. But how do you know what he said? How do you interpret come here? How to interpret the meaning of come here? So we will be able to understand with the help of your brain. So there has to be connection between the ear and the brain, and that is developed by the auditory nerve. So these are the different parts of the ear. So now we will talk about the function of each of these parts. So let us start with outer ear, that is spina. So we will start with the outer ear, that is spina. So this is the outer ear. So this is going to be the outer ear, and what is the purpose? Its purpose is to collect sound from the surrounding. So obviously it is the outermost part, so its job is to collect all the sounds from the surrounding. Now and then it will send it to inside through the auditory canal, and this auditory canal The sound passes through this towards eardrum. So the sound will enter through the outer drum, it travels through the auditory canal, and then it finally reaches the eardrum. So as I mentioned before, eardrum is a membrane. Now remember the musical instrument like dholak and tabla, where you have a membrane, stretch membrane, and therefore it vibrated. So whenever somebody strike on it, it vibrates. So in a very similar way here also, as the sound wave reach the eardrum being a membrane, it starts to vibrate. So this eardrum vibrate, and the vibration of eardrum, that is what gets carried away inside the ear to the inner ear. So these vibration are very critical. So that's why we can say that eardrum play a very important role in the process of hearing, and that is why eardrums needs a lot of protection, because it is the most vital organ, with most vital part of the ear, which plays a very important role in the process of hearing. So we can say that the vibrating part of human ear is the eardrum, which is like a stretch membrane. So let us see what exactly happened. So let us take this example. This will help you to understand what happens at the eardrum. So let us suppose that you have a can such that you have removed the top layer and the bottom layer of the can. So like a cylinder which is open from the top as well as from the bottom. Now you take a rubber kind of stretchable substance, and you cover the top of this can. Maybe with a rubber band, you just tied it up so that it's stretched. So it is like a stretch membrane now. Now you keep few grain seeds here. You keep it here, some grains. Now what do? This side is open. You speak something on this side, and what happen is the sound waves reach this membrane. And because it is stretched, so it starts vibrating. And how do you know it is vibrating? Because these grains, they start jumping. So they also starts vibrating along with the membrane. So this shows that when sound waves reach a stretch membrane, the stretch membrane starts vibrating. And in the similar thing happens in case of eardrum also. When the sound wave reach the eardrum starts vibrating. And now what happened? Due to this vibration of eardrum, what happened is, vibration means these kinds of compression and rarefaction. Compression, this is dense area, and rarefaction, this is lesser dense area. Again, compression is more dense, and then rarefaction is lesser dense. So okay, so this wave like structure is being formed, and that is how you get the sound wave, or your ear perceive the sound waves. So vibration of eardrum is the most important thing that happens during the process of hearing. Okay. Now how will it enter into the inner ear? So then it comes the middle ear, that is, the middle ears receive the vibration of the eardrum, and what will it do? It will just amplify the vibration, because the vibration will be like, it is not moving like this. So vibration is going to be like less noticeable. So those vibration get amplified by the middle ear. And in the middle ear, we have 3 bones which help in this amplification. And what are the 3 bones? Malleus, incus, and stapes. So these 3 bones, which are also called as hammer, anvil, and stirrup, these 3 bones together form a middle ear, and they together help in the amplification of the eardrum vibration. Now once the vibration is amplified, then they reach the inner ear. Here the vibration get amplified, and then they reach the inner ear, that is called cochlea. So cochlea is this coil structure which you see here. That is the most important part of the inner ear. And in this part, the vibration are converted into electrical signal, because vibration are not going to help you. The vibration sent to the brain, so that brain can interpret what you are hearing and send it back to you. So how do you say that sound is waves reach to the brain? So you cannot send it as it is. So vibration need to be converted into some electrical signal with the help of your nerves, and then the nerves carry these signals to the brain, and the brain will be able to understand the signals. So that's how it is work. Okay, so that is how entire process of hearing takes place. Okay, now something you kept in your mind in order to protect your ear. First is don't listen to music too loud for too long. Prefer muff type headphones over earbud style ones. Do not use sharp and hard object like pin to clear your ear, and use earbuds to clean your air. Now, how do we distinguish one sound from another? What are the characteristics of a sound? A sound wave is described by, these are the characteristics, you can say characteristics: wavelength, frequency, time period, pitch, amplitude, speed and quality. So if we can say the two sounds are different, so it may be different in because of their wavelength differences, frequency and all. So because of this, you hear different sound, like a sound of a guitar and a sound of a horn of the vehicle. They are very much different from each other because either they variable because of their wavelength or frequency or time period. So one of these has to be vary. So now before we talk about each of the characteristics of sound wave, so first recall how exactly the sound wave form. Why do we call it a wave? So whenever see a wave, that this is what comes in our mind. So how this variation comes in the pictures, this is how it comes. So if this is the source of the sound, this is the source which produces sound, and this is the human ear which is receiving the sound. So in between this, how are these sound waves travel? In the form of disturbance. So this is like a disturbance which make the particles of the medium to vibrate. So these blue dots which you see here is represent nothing but the particle of the medium. And in one of our previous video, I showed you how the particles vibrate. So in this picture you see that there is some density is very high, in some region the density is quite low. Again it comes a region where it is high and then low and so on. So here you have more number of particles and here you have less number of particles, then more, then less and so on. So these, based on this density of particles, this plot can be drawn. So here you see that as the particles density increases, it comes down, and these are known as compression. This is called compression. Why compression? Because compression means what? You compress a lot of things together. So here you see the too many particles are compressed together. So this is compression. And this region where the particles are spread, that is called rarefaction. So alternate compression and rarefaction form the sound wave. So when you plot it in this way, this is how you get the plot. So it is increases. Now what is actually increases? Now you will try to understand this graph. So here on the x-axis, this is x-axis and this is our y-axis, and on the x-axis we have time. So this is how the time varying, and what is varying? That is nothing but the amplitude. So on y-axis we consider amplitude. Now you might be curious to know what is amplitude. So that is what we are going to understand now. But you understood, right, that this is how the picture of the wave comes. So let's talk about the amplitude. Now when we talk about the sound wave, sound is always about how loud or how soft the sound is. So for example, if I tap the table very gently, so the sound produced will be the very less, right? But if I stuck it very hard, then sound produced will be more. So you will be able to hear this sound even from outside the room, because the sound is really volume is very high. Now the question is, what determines whether the sound is loud or not? So that is determined by the amplitude. So amplitude determines the loudness and the softness of sound. So on what factor does it depend? It depends on the force with which an object is made to vibrate. As I said just now, if I tap the table, what I'm actually doing, a sound is being produced. That means when I tap the table, something is vibrating with the table, and that vibration produces sound. So if I tap the table very hard, in that case I am applying a greater force. So when I applied a greater force, the vibration is also going to be more and the sound producing will be louder. So let us look at this example. This is your table, and in the first scenario you very gently tap the table. So what will happen? The sound produced is also going to be very less. So in this case, force applied is less, amplitude is less, therefore the loudness also less. In the second scenario, if you tap it very hard and fast, in this case the force applied is more, the sound produces is just also more, and therefore the amplitude is also more. So loudness on sound is directly proportional to the amplitude. Greater the amplitude, greater would be the loudness. Now the next thing which we are going to talk about is wavelength. Now you see the wave will have a upper and the lower portion. So this peak of the wave is termed as crest. Okay, this is called a crest, and the value of the wave is known as trough. So this is known as, it is called trough. So any wave is nothing but an alternate crest and trough. So this crest are caused by the compression. So if you remember how the particle vibrate, so we saw that there are region of some compression and rarefaction alternatively. So the compression region formed by the crest and the rarefaction is formed by the trough. So that is how we get this kind of wave. So now what do we mean by wavelength? So it is the distance between two consecutive crest or trough. So this is the first crest, and which is the next, this is the next crest, this is the third crest. Similarly, this is the second trough. Now the distance between two crests, this distance is termed as wavelength. Distance between two crests or distance between any two trough, that is called wavelength. So basically you can say the entire distance covered by one wave is termed as wavelength. And we normally denote the wavelength by lambda. So this is the distance between two crest and two trough. It is measured in meter because it is nothing but the length. We actually talking about the length, so it is measured in meter. We have discussed the amplitude and wavelengths. Now as I mentioned that amplitude and loudness are very closely related to each other. So greater the amplitude, greater will be the loudness. So they are directly proportional to each other. So loudness is more precise. It is proportional to the square of amplitude of vibration that produces sound. So that means that loudness is directly proportional to the square of amplitude. So if your amplitude becomes double, then your loudness will become 4 times. Right? If your amplitude becomes 3 times, then the loudness would be increases by 9 times. So even though force amplitude is divided by force, so basically if the amplitude is increasing by small amount of then the amplitude is going to be loudness will be increases to large amount. If an A increases by 4 times, so earlier the amplitude will be 4, then now the amplitude has to become 4A. So what would be the loudness? Loudness will be proportional to the square of the amplitude. So it means that loudness become 16 times. Okay, I hope now you can understood. Okay, so with that you can just make an idea about how the loudness increases in the different sound. So the next characteristic which I are going to discuss is frequency. So let us now talk about frequency of wave. What is frequency? This is the number of oscillation per unit time. So what do we mean by that? Let us suppose when you ring the bell, so what happened? This ball, the metal ball, consider it like that, it keeps on oscillating. So how many times it oscillated? Over a particular period of time, that denote the frequency. For example, let us suppose if it is moving very slow, like it will go like this and then come back. So the number of oscillation. Now, how do we define one oscillation? One oscillation would be starting from this to this, and then again this main position. So this entire thing is one oscillation, right? So if it is moving very slow, then maybe it will cover only two oscillation in 1 second. If it is moving very fast, it might cover 20 oscillation in 1 second. So how many oscillation it is covering in a particular period of time, that is called frequency. Okay. It is denoted by mu, and the SI unit of frequency is hertz. So hertz is the name after the popular scientist. So frequency is measured in hertz. Now what is time period? It is the time taken to complete one oscillation. So it's, if you start counting from here till here is one oscillation. So whatever time is taken to complete one oscillation, that is called time period. So this is called time period. Now obviously, since it is measured in time, therefore the SI unit is second, and that is very close relationship between time period and frequency, because they are very closely related. So let us try to find out the relationship between frequency and time period. So frequency is equals to 1 upon T. So frequency is equals to 1 by T, right? It is the time period, that is time taken to complete one oscillation. Correct? So that is capital T. And what is frequency? Frequency is nothing but the number of oscillation over a particular period of time. So that is frequency. So if you see here in capital T, that is in time period, how many oscillation are done? 1. So how many oscillation will be done in particular period of time? Small t. So how many oscillation will be done? 1 upon capital T. So over a period of time, over a period of capital T, 1 oscillation are done. So over a period of 1 second, so in 1 unit of time, what will be the number of oscillation? That is 1 upon T. And what is frequency? Frequency is the number of oscillation in unit time. So this is the unit time. So this one denotes nothing but unit time. So that is 1 unit of time. So in unit time, the number of oscillation is 1 by T. So, and this is nothing but a frequency. This is the definition of frequency, number of oscillation in a unit time. So that is why frequency is equals to 1 upon T. Next important thing is pitch. What is pitch? Now, like the way the loudness and amplitude are related to each other, similarly pitch and frequency are related to each other. Now the person of as the frequency of sound wave vary, the way the sound becomes out is also vary. So let me give you some example. Look at the example of a guitar and a keyboard. So the sound that come out of the guitar is very different from the sound that come out of the keyboard. Similarly, if you look at the male and the female voice, do you think that the voice of the male and female are similar? No. So they are different. So female voice is more shrill, whereas a male voice is more coarse and rough. So why are these different? This different is due to the difference in their frequency. Now as the frequency changes, the pitch of the sound also changes. Now have you ever seen that higher frequency has a higher pitch and lower frequency has lower pitch? Pitch means shrillness in the voice. So for example, if you look at the female voice, it has a high pitch when compared to the male voice. So male voice has a lower pitch. So male voices are less shrill. So that is the pitch. This means that the frequency of this sound produced by the female is higher. Now what do we mean by higher frequency? Okay. If we talk about high frequency would like this. That means it is covering too many oscillation over a period of time. So So the waves will be like closer to each other. More number of oscillation are happening over a period of time. Now if you talk about low frequency, so this is how it would like. So in case of low frequency, you see the waves are spread. So the number of oscillation, here if you see over this much period of time, the number of oscillation are, how many are there? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, almost 9 to 10. Okay, but here how many? Only 3. So here, so this is how the high frequency will look like, and this is how the low frequency look like. So high frequency would has high pitch, and lower frequency means low pitch. Now let us look at the some of the example of sound around us. Let's compare the pitch and loudness of the sound. Now please remember that loudness is always associated with amplitude and pitch is always associated with the frequency. So let us take an example of a male voice and the female voice. So in this case, a female voice has a higher pitch, male voice has a lower pitch. But if you talk about the loudness, a male might have the ability to speak louder than the female. Okay. However, it is depend on person to person. But it is also possible, it is not necessary that sound which is more loud has to have higher pitch, because loudness and pitch are both are different. They are two different characteristics. Okay. So we can have a wave which have a higher amplitude but a lower frequency. Let us look at some example. Like if you compare the sound of a lion with the sound of a bird, what do you see? That the sound of the bird has a higher pitch, more shrill, as that is because the frequency is higher. But if you compare the loudness might be more. The sound of lion is more loud, but it has a lesser pitch. That's because the frequency of sound is less in case of lion. So now we will talk about the range of hearing. Now the question is, are we able to hear the all type of sound? Because there is where there is a vibration, there is a sound. But can we able to hear all type of sound, or can we able to hear only a particular type of sound? That is we are going to talk about. So what is range of hearing? So it is the range of frequency of sound which is audible to a living being. Now this is again interesting. It is not that all living organism can perceive or they can listen to sound of all frequency, but different living organism have ability to perceive the different frequency of sound. Now, for a better understanding, let us take an example of a human being. Now, in case of human being, again we also have certain set of ranges which are audible to us. Okay, so based on that, sound have been categorized into two sections. One is audible and another is inaudible sound. So if you look at this represents the various frequency of sound. So for human being, the audible range starts from 20 hertz. So it is audible to us, and we can hear a sound up to 20 kilohertz. So this is our audible range. So all the frequency which we fall below, so which fall in this range, they form audible sound because we can hear that. Now any sound which frequency lesser than 20 hertz is called infra, and the sound of frequency greater than 20,000 hertz is called ultra. So infra and ultra are inaudible to human being. Now please do remember that I'm only talking about human being, okay, because different living organisms have different range of hearing. So it is not for every living organism, this is only for human. If you compare the range of hearing for a dog or a cat or a human being, they are all going to be different. So let us look at the range of frequencies for some of the different organisms. So here we have considered some organism like human, dogs, dolphin, fish, sea lions, bats, frogs, birds and rodents. So you see on the x-axis we have taken the frequency, and these are it is in hertz. So you see that for human being it is just how I told you, that it is from 20 to 20,000 hertz. At 20,000 it is somewhere here. So you see for human being it start from 20 to 20,000 hertz. For dog, you see the range is even greater than human being. So dogs can hear, which is all in our inaudible range. And dolphin also have same range. Fishes, they have different range. Now, so you see that different organisms have different range of hearing. So whatever sounds we are able to hear, we feel that only those sounds exist, but there are a lot of other sound which also exist, which are not audible to us.